good, y'all? Surprise, man. Today, I wanted to talk about something wrestling related. So, for those of you who don't know in wrestling, pro wrestling, keeping kayfabe is important. Is another way of saying, in wrestling terms, kayfabe means like you stay committed to the character on and off screen. Like whether you're at house shows, whether you're at autograph signings, whether somebody is recording you out on the street because they know you're famous and they go, hey, I know you're a wrestler on this in WWE or whatever the case may be. Like you're staying committed to the character you portray on television. And people are like, oh man. And I used to be one of the defenders of saying, like, because people would go, oh, this generation is soft in wrestling terms. I knew in society, I obviously was like, yeah, I agree. Society is definitely a lot soft, way softer than it was back in the day. Like, you was able to get away with a lot of stuff. Completely agree. That's just fact. But wrestling wise, I was kind of trying to defend it because I'm like, man, I don't think that's fair, man. Like to say they're soft. But no, I think, I agree now. Because, man, when you see people on the internet, bro, it's just, and how wrestlers behave sometimes to certain people's criticisms, it's just like, it's crazy how much hate they get. And it's crazy how off they go off on people with a podcast just because they said something about them they didn't like, even if it's the truth. I mean, anyway, but keeping kayfabe is important because it makes people really believe in your character. It's hard to believe in your character if one day on TV you're being a aggressive, angry bad guy, or another way of saying heel. You're being aggressive and angry, and you're talking trash to your opponent in the crowd, and you're just the bad guy. But then when you run like house shows where people are recording because everyone has a phone now, you're just like, oh, I love you guys, man. Thank you for everybody for coming. Like, you're like, whoa. That kind of, for the people who are there at the house show, like now when they watch you on TV, they remember you being a nice guy. So now it's kind of like, oh, well, I remember when you were being, all nice. So now when you're mean, it's like, he's just playing a character. Like, I shouldn't feel that way. I should feel like, dang, this dude is really like that everywhere he goes. It don't matter if he being recorded outside of the ring, whether he's being recorded in the ring, because he's on live TV. Like, it don't matter. This dude is literally the same everywhere. Like, that's what helped the character get more popular. That's what makes them stand out and make them more popular. And that's what makes them more believable when it comes to seeing them on TV. Like, all right, you got to send the crowd home happy. You don't have to keep doing that. You can send the crowd home disappointed and mad at the guy who's supposed to be a bad guy. I mean, it's so dumb. Like, the face, the good guy, that's the guy who should be. If you want to you're like WWE, like they're so like on sending the crowd home happy. That's why you have your top baby faces do that. You don't have your bad guy close out the shows telling the crowd thank you and drive safe. Then what is the face job to do? If the bad guy's the one sending everybody home happy after the show's over, what is the and dapping up everybody in the crowd? Like, what is that would throw, like, I'm just saying, that would throw you off whether the show is live or not. That's like if Roman Reigns was losing on house shows, but he was winning on TV and pay-per-views. You'd be like, wait a minute, if they're saying he hasn't been pinned in 1,000 days, but yet he just got pinned on this live event. Well, it's not sanctioned. Well, that doesn't matter. He still got pinned. You're saying he hasn't gotten pinned. Period. But that's not true. He has gotten pinned. Just because he wasn't televised, but he got pinned. So that would not make sense, right? For Roman Reigns to lose half of his matches on house shows, but then win his televised stuff or stuff that's on air. That doesn't make sense. And people just don't get how that means the same thing character-wise. That doesn't make sense for you to be a bad guy on screen, but then out in public when there's a camera on you outside of the ring, you're like this nice guy. Like, whoa, what? it's harder to believe in the character. And some people are saying like, oh well, if people were getting stabbed and shot back in the day, so keeping kayfabe is not a good idea. I'm like, really? You're literally comparing a time period that was not the same. Back in the day, people still thought wrestling was like all legit. Like these were not characters, none of that. That's why people would go to that degree. It's because like there was nothing that they could. There was no way they could know whether it was just for show. So, or some people didn't get that memo that it was all for show. So that being said, that's what made them do that. And nowadays, everybody's got a phone and the internet, so you shouldn't have to worry about anyone going to that extreme to hurt you if they really believe you're that much of a bad guy. Like, it doesn't hurt to make a couple people cry. Like, I think people think that when you're famous, you're obligated to, like, talk to people. I'm like, bro, just because your name is big doesn't mean you're obligated to take pictures with all the kids and be nice. No, you're not obligated to do that. That's not your job. When you're famous, your job is not to like speak to strangers out of nowhere who know who you are as a famous person. Like you don't have to talk with those people. You're not obligated to talk to those people. So therefore, if you're a bad guy on television, I'm not saying you gotta push the kid on the floor. I'm just saying tell them like, hey, bro, nah, I'm good off that picture, bro. Or like, don't smile in the pictures. Be like, yeah, he paid, or be like, hey, he paid me $20 before I took the picture. By the way, like something like slight like that, like just to make us go like, dang, bro, he's really like this. Like if that part of it feels like the you want, even though the show, right, it's all for show. It's not real in a sense of these are how these people really act. Yeah, but in order for me to believe in a character on that you're portraying, you can't just be that on screen and then I later see a footage of you like hugging a little girl and giving all the crowd a high five like that. Whoa, are you a? Because at that point, that's you telling us I'm not really a bad guy. How are we supposed to believe in you then? I'm not saying they can't have personal lives. I'm just saying, why is there so much to ask? Is it really so much to ask to keep character while you're being recorded? If you're not being recorded, and go. But at least when a camera's on you, can you go? Tell them, hey, bro, I'm good off the picture, bro. Or like say, all right, you're gonna have to pay me for the picture, and I'll take the picture with you, and then don't smile. Like, bro, it's you have fun with being able to keep character. Like, you have fun with it. You don't take it as no, I'm doing my job. Like, no, have fun with it. Be like, hey, bro, if I want them to really believe that I'm this bad guy on TV, how am I gonna do that if I'm like giving everybody pictures and smiling and stuff in public? Like, whoa. That's like if a bad guy in a movie was being all bad and evil and was hurting the hero, but then they cut to a scene where he's giving all these, donating all this money to charity and smiling with people. Because then you're like, whoa. Unless that's part of the character where he, acts like he's nice, but then when the hero comes around, he's like a villain. Nah, right, that's different because you can kind of play on that. But with a movie, that doesn't make sense for you to be a bad guy and then be a good guy. That doesn't make sense. You have to, like, if Thanos was helping people, you'd be like, wait, what? You just after a scene we just saw you erase everyone for existence. Now you're like helping you're helping the Avengers. Like you'd be like, whoa, you just eliminated everybody from existence, but now you helping them. Like that it literally wouldn't make sense. Same thing in wrestling. Wrestling is year round. This isn't like you can film a movie and then just be whatever you want to be outside of the movie, and then we'll just wait to the next movie because you'll play a new character anyway. So there's no need to keep kayfabe in terms of keep act like the character you are on the movie because you're gonna get another movie anyway. But in wrestling, it's like that's not the case. It's year round. You're always on TV every single week, or at least almost every single week. So it's not like you're just gonna, pre-record a show and then you can go to your normal life and whatever. No, like this is gonna be year round. People know who you are, and when they see you out in public, they're gonna see you again. on the show, on TV, or in the arena. So all my thing is, all I'm gonna title this video is kayfabe is important, bro. I don't care who says, I mean, it is dead. But like I said, just because it's dead doesn't mean it should be, or that that's the right way that it should go. But people don't realize, like, all these big stars, like, bro, Undertaker kept kayfabe for the longest. That's why his character was so believable on screen. You believe like there was actually something wrong with the Undertaker and that he was a dead man in a sense. Like whatever that meant to people, they thought that's what he was, bro. Like this dark mystical character. They thought he was like that, like all the time, because that's how he acted all the time until he retired. Because after he retired or was on the verge of retiring, that's when he started like, all right, let people into my personal life, right? And that's fine because your career is over, so there's no point in doing it anymore. But for the time he was like consistently a full-time wrestler, like, yeah, I'm glad he kept kayfabe because people like him, legends of the game like that, realize how much that's important. And they could give a crap less about getting stabbed. So I mean, it was people who would laugh on those stories of them getting stabbed because they did so well keeping character. Like anyway, and again, that's the old days. So in the old days, there were people who still thought like wrestling was like not a show business. They thought it was like legit. Everything that was happening was legit. So yeah, that was that not. There's been no reports on a wrestler getting shot or stabbed from keeping kayfabe recently. Or for the people like MJF who keep kayfabe, there's no reports of him getting stabbed or shot. Because most of these people know, dang, I can't crack him. He's staying committed. And that's why he's more believable on TV. And that's a thing that contributes to him being as big of a star as he is because he promotes himself as the same guy that you get on TV. He promotes himself like that in every interview he does. Every time someone wants a picture from a fan fest event. He's like this all the time. That's part of what makes him the biggest star is because you don't see him as a guy who's playing a character. You see him as like, yo, he's like this everywhere this dude goes. He's like this. So, yeah, it's important. And I hope any wrestling fans that either want to watch it or be one understands that from this video, bro. Keep character because you'll be a bigger star for it and you'll be more believable to people. And no, they won't see you as a guy who's just playing a character on the screen. They're thinking like you are, like you're who that is. You convince people of that when you give them no option but to believe it. But that's all I had to say, man. Love and appreciate you guys. You made this far in the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and the Prodigy is out. Peace. I botched that. But either way, we're out. Peace.